Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline and today it's part 2 of ADHD treatments. Before we get into it, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, like this video, share the video, and of course you can also go follow me on my Instagram that's also called The Art of Being Ill. So last week we did part 1 of ADHD treatment. And it became quite a long video, so I decided to divide this into 2 videos. So let's just take part 2 right now. Let's move on to the next medicine you can take for ADD and ADHD. This is called Atomoxetine. I think that's how it's pronounced. This is actually a non-stimulant drug. So Atomoxetine is what we call, and let me see, a selective noradrenaline reuptake inhibitor. I know it sounds very complicated, it kind of is. But simplified, it is increasing the levels of noradrenaline in the brain, and it's doing this by blocking the reuptake into nerve cells. So the last 3 medicines we covered was stimulants, and they increase the levels of both dopamine and noradrenaline. But as you might have noticed, Atomoxetine, I think I pronounced that correctly, only increases the level of noradrenaline. And because it doesn't increase the level of dopamine, it is less likely for you to become dependent. So this is also a medicine if you have a history of substance abuse or substance dependency. Could be a really good alternative as well. The most common side effects are nausea or vomiting, dry mouth, reduced appetite, insomnia, fatigue or drowsiness, increased sweating, and dizziness. The less common side effects we see are elevated heart rate, increased blood pressure, constipation, erectile dysfunction or reduced libido, mood swings, or being irritated. And then we have the rare side effects that we still need to be aware of, but not to worry too much about. And this is something like liver injury. It can cause injury to your liver. It can give suicidal thoughts. So please, if you get suicidal thoughts after taking this drug, call the doctor immediately. Allergic reactions. If you have heart condition, it can actually result in some more serious heart-related side effects. And of course, again, be aware that if you have pre-existing conditions, you need to tell your doctor. This could be especially something like cardiovascular issues, high blood pressure, or mental health disorders. And again, monitoring the treatment, but again, the doctor should be doing that. This is usually taken twice a day and with food. And food can be important in order to absorb the active drug. Avoid alcohol. Again, always avoid alcohol. Alcohol is really not good for anything. The last medicine for ADD and ADHD we're going to go over today is, and this I can't pronounce, okay, I'm going to give it a shot, but it's Guanfacine. Guanfacine. It sounds Spanish, right? It sounds like I'm saying a Spanish word wrong. Guanfacine. I think that's how it's said. I have no idea. But this is also a non-stimulant. And the way this works is a little complicated, so I might be looking down because it has some really long names and stuff. But Guanfacine is what we call an alpha-2 and adrenergic receptor agonist. Oh, I don't think I said that right. Anyways, it works by stimulating the so-called alpha-2 receptors in the brain, particularly in the prefrontal cortex. And this reduces sympathetic nerve activity and thereby enhancing attention, emotional regulation, and impulse control. And it also promotes a calming effect. So a lot of people who has the H in ADHD might benefit from this. And again, because this is a non-stimulant, it could be a good alternative to someone who has a history of being dependent on substances. Again, we have side effects, and funny enough, they look a lot like all other side effects. The most common side effects are drowsiness or sedation, fatigue, dry mouth, dizziness, being irritated, stomach pain or nausea, constipation. It's funny how a lot of the common side effects are the same no matter what type of medicine you take. Notice that. It's really like no matter what, a lot of the common ones are what almost every drug gives you. It's really weird. The less common side effects. Decreased heart rate. So not increased heart rate, but decreased heart rate. So your heart rate is not beating fast enough. Low blood pressure. And this is funny because this is the exact opposite of the stimulants, right? The stimulants, they increase heart rate and increase blood pressure. But this is the opposite. This decreases the heart rate and gives you lower blood pressure. Weight gain, sleep disturbances. And this could actually, it's kind of funny because it can also be like having unusual dreams, like nightmares is a side effect. It's kind of weird. And then we have the rare side effects that doesn't happen that often, but that you need to know about. And this is something like severe hypotension, leading to fainting, it actually says. But this is hypotension is clearly the opposite of hypertension. So this is low blood pressure. And when you have a low blood pressure, if it becomes too low, you might faint. So it's not a good thing. And it can also give you some heart rhythm abnormalities. Irregular heartbeats. Let's just say it. I'm trying to sound smart here. It's not really working. And of course, you can also have allergic reactions. Again, it interacts with other types of drugs. The one I want to mention here, because it's actually quite important, is that it interacts with medicine for high blood pressure. So medicine that lowers your blood pressure, taken with this Guanfacine, can be a really bad combo because, as you just heard by the side effects, it can cause low blood pressure and low heart rate. So if you take Guanfacine, who has these side effects, and then take a drug for high blood pressure, so a drug that lowers your blood pressure, you can see how your risk of getting really low blood pressure and fainting is really big. And the things you need to be aware of are the same as with all the other drugs. Telling your doctor about pre-existing conditions, especially if you have heart problems or if you suffer from low blood pressure and that kind of stuff. And it needs to be monetized. You need to, I think this is taken in the morning as well. Let me just see if that was correct. Yes, once daily. No, sorry. No, this is actually interesting because a lot of the other drugs are actually all of them is taking in the morning because we want to avoid not being able to sleep at night. But this Guanfacine has the opposite effect, right? It makes you fatigued, right? It sedates you and it gives you low blood pressure and all that. So it's actually most commonly taken before bedtime to avoid the sedation during the day. That's kind of interesting. And of course, avoid alcohol. Always avoid alcohol. Just stop drinking alcohol. It's not good for you. So I guess that was it for today, guys, and have a blessed rest of the day, and I'll see you next time right here on my channel, The Art of Being Ill.